Lupita Nyong'o, the world-renowned actress of Kenyan heritage, recently went viral online and on social media for comments she made on CNN. So she was speaking to Angelique Kidjo, a fellow African powerhouse in terms of culture, a Beninese French singer-songwriter, activist, and actress in her own right. Lupita explained to her how, after winning an Oscar for her role in 12 Years a Slave, a lot of the role pitches she was getting was to be an enslaved person again. She even talked about how how some, if not all of them, were like, okay, like we want you to be a slave again, but like this time we want you to be coming over on a ship and things like that. And she explained how like she turned down all of them. She didn't want to just perpetuate this historical trauma of Black people that mainstream media has just clung to. She instead wanted to show other things about Black and African culture and our brilliance and our creativity and things like that in the roles she'd take on it. And that just kind of emphasized to me the importance of controlling your narrative, owning your story, because if you don't, there's a good chance someone else will do that for you, and you may not like it very much. And that brings me to everything that I'm doing with this podcast. And even before I started this podcast, to kind of rewind a bit, I am a reporter by day. I cover the NFL, and I was working at home in Seattle early in my career. And there was a moment where I had to kind of take off my sports reporter hat to write a column on a situation that went down at my high school in the Seattle area. There was like this racist incident, or I should say specifically racist language towards Black people used in a school dance invite to a guy or a girl. There was a cotton picking reference made in it. This story was picked up everywhere. I remember the NAACP chapter of Seattle responded to it. There was all this outrage and people saying like this isn't who we are. And as one of the few Black kids who went to the school and taking a calm, even keeled, balanced approach as much as possible, I explained this is exactly who we are. And I broke down situations I dealt with, language I heard used, things I saw, heard, uh, things of that nature. And I had a lot of backing from my Black classmates in terms of giving, like owning the narrative in that way, in terms of giving the Black perspective of, Black kids who actually went to this school to kind of balance out the things that were being said. In terms of this podcast, like, I think it's really interesting, like with mainstream media, the portrayal of Blackness, because it's always like strictly the Black in America perspective. And there's a certain narrative that we see clung to with that. And then there's like the African or Caribbean perspective on the other side, or the immigrant perspective of those kind of those two areas. And there has been I mean, both of the way both of those things have been portrayed has been problematic in itself. But there hasn't even been a real storytelling effort for those of us who are right in between, right? These us second gen Black folks, like our those of us who are bicultural, and that's what I'm doing, is telling that story, right, through spotlighting personal stories of second gen Black immigrants as we navigate identity and success and purpose and what all those things mean, and taking the gems out of our stories and doing that, and like I said, owning the narrative, controlling the story before someone else does it for us.